In this video example, we're going to show you how we create SEO landing pages that include a hierarchical directory. This demonstration assumes you've subscribed to our SEO location landing pages add-on. I'm just going to start the usual process of importing data. There's nothing unique about this particular step. I'm just importing a spreadsheet that contains locations. Within the hierarchical directory pages, it's important to have complete and accurate and consistent city, state, and country data. If you have, for example, New York spelled one way in one record and one way in another record, you'll end up with 2 pages for New York, and obviously that's not good. So data consistency is very important when generating these hierarchical pages. The first thing I'm going to do after I've imported the data is create an interface. I'm starting with a template so you get an idea of the minimum settings it's required to affect these hierarchical pages. So let's just take a look at our interface as it is, just a relatively standard layout. The first thing I'm going to do is install this interface on a website. I'm going to install it on this website. It's a Joomla website unrelated to MetaLocator. Your process will obviously vary a little bit when you do go to install that. I'm going to choose a host name. I'm going to choose a very random host name because I don't want to reserve host names that my clients might want. So I'll check availability, make sure that that's available, and it is. I'll save and continue. And then it'll present to me the code that I can use to install to my website. So I'll copy that and click continue. And then I'll go over to my website and update the code. I'll save that, and then I'll wait for it to save. I'll go to the front end of that same website and reload it just to make sure that the interface is installed correctly and everything's looking the way that I want. So that looks good. That's the way that I like it. And so I'll go back to MetaLocator in this case, and I'll make sure that the system knows that I've actually installed the interface, which it has. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually enable some of the SEO options that are related to creating directory pages. We could generate SEO landing pages at this point, but they wouldn't have directory pages available with them. So let's explore some of the settings. Within SEO landing pages, the wizard that I went through already configured some of these options for us. So you saw that when I chose a host name, it actually enabled SEO landing pages for us. The other thing is it detected that I installed this interface on www.fatika.net, and that's where it's going to attempt to extract the template. It's filled out some other settings for us, which are basically automatically completed. I'm going to leave the FTP and WordPress settings alone for the moment. And the other thing I'm going to explore is the SEO directory pages. Enabling this option at the top is the one that allows us to build this geographic hierarchy. So without this turned on, none of the directory pages will work. The directory index item template, I'm going to leave it its defaults. It displays essentially location-specific details when it gets down to the location-specific level. I'm going to leave the rest of these at their defaults. These control which fields are displayed on various levels of pages. So for example, at the country level, that is at, if you have a page dedicated to the United States, should it show links to states at that level? Should it show links to cities? And should it show links to the individual locations? And so on and so forth. So these are all controllable and editable as necessary. I'm going to leave them at their defaults. Now that we've got that together, I'll just click Save. Now that that's saved, I'll go over to SEO landing pages. And it shows me the one interface that I've configured. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click Pull Template. And what that will do is it'll go out to this website, and it'll find everything above and below the MetaLocator interface, and it will use that to create the header and footer for my location landing page template. And so I'll go back here and I'll click Pull Template. Template extraction underway. This completes in just a moment. So most of the time, by the time you click OK, that process is already completed. So I'll just click OK. The next thing I'll do is generate the SEO landing pages. This can take some time depending on the number of records that you have. For about 150 records, it takes about 60 seconds. So in this case, I'm going to click Generate. I'll click OK, and I'll pause the video while we wait for those to generate. I've come back to my desk after a couple minutes and reloaded the page and noticed that this red icon appears in the upper left, and that indicates to me that something has completed. It says that the landing page has been created. I can download this archive as a zip file, but I can also click directly to preview the files that it's created. I'm going to bring the URL bar into view here so that we can see how these paths are created. The system by default inserts the interface above the directory pages, and so we've seen this now create successfully these directory pages. In order to insert the interface above the directory pages, it uses a template that's configured within the directory pages. The template doesn't have much in terms of a header and a footer. However, the body contains these two tags, interface and content. Content is essentially everything you see below the interface. So all of this is inserted into that content placeholder, and the interface is inserted in the interface placeholder. So these are the directory pages that have been successfully created. Notice that at the root level it shows us the number of locations in the United States. In this example, we are only displaying data in a single country. If I click on California, notice that the interface above filters to California, and the locations below are then shown as just California. The other thing you'll notice is that the path here is shown as California. The other thing is that if these were generated during a 30-day trial, a free 30-day trial, you'll see that a notice down below that says these were generated as part of a free 30-day trial. That's obviously removed as a paid user. Within each one of these individual locations, I can click Details, and we'll go to one of our individual location landing pages. Notice that this location landing page has the template as extracted from my website added to it. Some people might also choose to add that template to the directory pages as well. In this example, I've opted not to do that. However, if I wanted my directory pages to have the same header and footer that my individual location landing pages have, I could simply go into my interface as follows and take the index page template header, copy that, landing page header, go into my directory pages and paste it into the template header. As follows, and put back interface and content. And go back up, take the footer, and do the same thing. In this case, paste it just below. That will allow my website header and footer to be just above and just below the content. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the MetaLocator and ML directory class to the template body. That ensures that we inherit these nice styles that have been added. I'll save that and go back to SEO landing pages and click Generate again. Again, I'll pause the video while these pages are generated. Okay, our pages have been completely generated. I'm looking again now at the preview that has been generated after we applied our website template to the header and footer of the directory pages. And notice that it's a combination now of MetaLocator styles and the styles of the Fatica.net website. And that can cause some problems. So notice that this details button, we may not want to have that white color in there. However, the collection has come together for a relatively decent presentation. In this case, we can click into Georgia, for example, and we can see a page with our 4 locations in Georgia with our customer header and footer displayed nicely. I'll have to make some adjustments to this CSS in order to make sure there aren't any conflicts in this regard, but this should be a good proof of concept. One thing to take away from this is that the complexity of the page onto which, or excuse me, the complexity of the page that is used for the header and footer of these SEO optimized landing pages and directory pages can possibly negatively impact the layout of the content that we insert. We do our best to have as a seamless an integration as possible, but sometimes CSS can, well, cascade. Hopefully this has provided a good overview of the MetaLocator hierarchical pages. Feel free to reach out, as always, to support@metalocator.com if you have any questions.